spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scariest Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, this is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And today we are here to read you folks some amazing homegrown horrors, and Adam will explain what those are. I was about to say it, but I was like, nah, you could do it.
Homegrown horrors are the stories that we have been sent by you, the wonderful listener and or viewer, and it typically contains something that's supernatural, paranormal, creepy, spooky, spiritual, coincidental, or true crime in some way, shape, or form. It's either your story, a friend, or a family member's that you've decided to pass along to us, and let us know, hey, you can go ahead and share this on the show, and Storytime are the episodes where we do that. Robin, for folks who had something that they would like to share with us, how can they do so?
So if you have any of these types of stories, you can send them to our email, storytime@scariest.com. You can also message us on our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun stuff. And you can go to our website. We have a contact us page, scariest.com. Just fill out all that fun stuff, and it'll get to us that way.
Indeed. Sounds perfect. Robin also wants to go ahead and announce something fun we are going to be doing at the end of the month of August. So I will let you take it away.
So we got a couple mugs in that we actually offer on our Teespring store. It's of our cute and scary design. I'm just going to show us the streamers. This is it. It has the little design on the front, has Scary-ish on the back. So it's going to be like a raffle giveaway type thing. So if you're a patron during this month, you're automatically going to be entered into it. Opportunity to try to win free stuff.
So essentially anyone who is already a patron, and at the beginning of the month, your payment comes out, or at the time you sign up, your payment comes out. You are already entered into that, and then anyone that jumps in, even at the $1 level, is going to get an entry to win the mug. We'll post pictures of it on the social medias as well, or you can go check it out on Teespring, and if you're like, I just want it, you can go ahead and buy it. However, if you want to try and win a free one, yeah, just be a patron, and at the end of the month, we will do a raffle and figure out who it goes to, and it's going to be a fun time. As far as fun times go, for this episode, we have 4 stories for you. I'm going to be going first, so I will go ahead and go first with the first goings. This first one's subject is hard to explain. Grandpa, is that you? I'm drawn in.
Yeah,
that's a really good subject.
Topic.
It starts out like this. Hi all, greetings from Malaysia. Hello.
Hello.
Greetings from the United States.
That's
Nevada
such a far away
specifically.
away.
It is. It's really far away. This might not be some lighthearted story, but feel free to share it. I live with my aunt, uncle, grandma, and 4 cousins in a small apartment. Just 3 days ago, I woke up from huge lightning and thunder that feels like it's right behind my bed by the window. My body responds by covering my ears. When the lightning is over, I closed my eyes and went back to sleep, even with my heart beating very fast like it was about to burst. However, when I closed my eyes, I could feel a huge eye staring at me.
It was the Eye of Sauron.
I hate you so much. At the same time, I heard a huge bang outside the window like something heavy falling from a higher place. My mind comes up with the view of someone suicide jumping, but I tell myself
that's terrifying.
It might be the lightning rod falling because that thunder is really high and loud. I'm alone in the dark in my small packed room. Out of fear, I called my boyfriend. It was 6:30 a.m. at that time. I told him what I heard and felt. He was still half asleep. It's funny because boyfriends being tired and not really listening to you translates across all cultures and languages.
Oh my god.
Then I heard my aunt shout, gas explosion. I tell him what my aunt shouted and prepare to evacuate the building. I'm still in a huge shock but managed to grab my jacket bag, my file with important documents, and Fitbit to track my heart rate. I bet you it was through the roof at that point. Before leaving, I made sure to have a bottle of drink, luckily there's 1 bottle of milk in my room, and shut off the main electricity. My whole family managed to evacuate the building without harm. There's no pushing or shouting or panic. That's good.
That's lucky, yeah.
Yeah. When we arrive at the safe ground and look at which house that exploded, to my surprise, it's the house below my neighbor's house. I'm a crafty person. I have flammable stuff in the corner of my room. Alcohol rub, a gas refill can, epoxy resin. All these things can burn your skin badly in some conditions. If the explosion got even one of the corners in my room, even if I didn't die, I would have been heavily injured. The fire was over within 45 minutes. When my cousin calmed down, she said, When she heard the bang, she tried to go back to sleep, but felt like an eye was staring at her, which made her wake up again.
And that's what they felt in the beginning. Wow.
She thought the same thing as me. I feel like it's my grandpa who passed away 14 years ago, scaring us to prevent us from going back to sleep. In the end, we still don't know what caused the explosion, but no death, no heavy injuries happened. The grandma living in the exploded home only had a minor injury to her leg.
Wow.
Now a thunder sound doesn't mean the same to me anymore. I'm not sleeping without light anymore, and I turned jumpy from a little bang sound. Hopefully things will get better after this. Thank you for your time. Bye. Regards, Karen. Well, that is fucking crazy and super terrifying.
You know what's also crazy is today, the day we're doing this live show, this morning.
Beirut.
Yes!
Yeah.
It was a fireworks factory or something,
They're saying it was a fireworks factory. There was a fire there, and a bunch of people had their cell phones out taking a video of the fire. And it swear to God, it looks like an atomic bomb.
Oh my gosh.
It's a blast that's so intense. It's a perfect dome of white from the sound effects. Or the shockwave, I should say. And then the mushroom cloud. And everyone's like handheld video, when it goes off like that, they freak the fuck out.
I was just like, what? And my
I think
coworker,
it's like 25 dead and hundreds are injured.
My coworker stopped me and he's like, you need to see this.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
I was just... And it's crazy that we have a story, our first story of the night, that is about an explosion.
Right? Coincidence?
I think not.
I think not. So, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad the person that lived in that house is okay. And I guess better safe than sorry, but I do hope you're sleeping well when you hear thunder and lightning outside. So, thank you for sharing that with us. And hopefully everyone that's out in Beirut is okay, too, because we know that shit is very, very scary. So, right on. Before we move on, I was actually in Florida when I was a kid, when Universal Studios, I think it was, had an explosion. I've talked about it once on the show before because it affected some story. It overlapped with something that happened. And one of the stories I told, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we were just going to Disney World or something, and we just heard this super loud explosion. We turned and people thought a nuclear bomb had dropped. And it was just a bunch of pyrotechnics that were stored in a warehouse that some of it started to go up. And it all just went off at once.
Wow.
And I remember thinking oh, that was crazy. No one will believe me. But it made the news. And there's still news articles out there for it. And I wound up seeing it and remembering it when I was covering a topic for the show. So seeing that shit from Beirut totally reminded me of that today.
We experienced an explosion the other day, too.
When?
When the electricity transformer
or whatever
we
had a
up.
transformer station 2 blocks from us explode to the point where we could hear it. And our lights just barely stayed on twice. And it knocked out, I think it said 8,000 people's power, and the city block right next to ours was completely dark. So
yeah, it was
lots
absolutely
of crazy weird
2020
explosions
is
going
explosive.
On. Yeah. Oh wow, what a great, what a good catchphrase. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next email.
This next email is from Abby, and the subject is Indonesian ghost.
Interesting.
Hello, Robin and Adam.
Hello.
Hello, that's us. My name is Abby, and I'm from Indonesia. I really, really want to tell you guys about our kind of ghosts and our beliefs on the supernatural realm. But first, I'll start with ghosts. First off, there's a ghost called Pocong. And Pocong is a ghost that wanders around, usually around his graveyard or his house, seeking help. What kind of help, you might ask? Well, here comes the cultural lesson. Since Indonesia consists almost 60% of Muslims, we bury the deceased in the Muslim way. It means that we wrap the deceased with a special kind of cloth called kafan, and then tie both ends with the piece of cloth. And when we bring down the body to the grave hole, we are supposed to untie the knot on the head, and sometimes they, the ones that bury the body, forget to untie it. And so the body's wandering around seeking help to untie it. You can Google it and see what it looks like. Warning, it's really, really scary. I don't want to Google it.
Right.
I can't. I don't think I could handle. But I could see that turning into some ghost legend. Because,
a broader piece of culture.
Right.
Right.
Because if you forget to do something and then they're trapped there, they're going to want to get out.
Can you imagine, in our culture, they're called pallbearers. They're the people who deliver the coffin from the site to the grave. They carry the coffin. It's usually people that are very close to the deceased. Can you imagine being one of the people that's in charge of untying it, and then afterwards just realizing oh man,
because they're already buried.
Did we do that?
Yeah.
That's just gotta be the worst feeling ever.
Now, to my experience seeing it, one night I wanted to go to my room. My room at that time is on the outside of the house, but still connected to it. But in order to go to my room, you need to get out of the house first. And just as I'm touching my room door handle, I felt that I needed to turn around. That's scary when you feel like there's something behind you, so you want to look, but you're like, what the fuck am I going to see if I turn around? And when I turn around, I saw it. A kid-sized pachong just chilling on my neighbor's tree branch, facing the other way.
At least it wasn't facing your way.
Yeah. I couldn't move for a couple of seconds, but I didn't feel scared at all. I just froze there and couldn't move. And when I could move again, I opened the door and get inside my room. In my room, there's a big window that's facing that tree. When I looked at the window, that pachong was gone. And then I just laid in my bed and fell asleep. I don't know how you could. I'd be like, maybe I just want to stay awake just a little bit longer. Right. Sorry for the long email. Although I don't have any personal experience seeing them, I'll send you other kinds of ghosts that we have in store if you're interested.
Absolutely.
Thanks for reading it. Best regards, Abby. Thank you so much for sending that. I don't know how you could sleep after seeing something very much there.
Right.
This kid sitting on this tree branch. You don't hear anything either, right? You don't hear them jumping off or anything like that. And you go into your house or your room, and then you look out the window and they're gone. I wouldn't want to go to sleep because what if they jumped off the tree and are walking to my place because they just saw me go inside?
I just I don't know why, but I had the urge. I need to know more about this legend and if there's consequences, if they catch you or what happens. But I'd be like, yo, dog, do you want me to get that top knot for you? Because I feel like that's what they came back for, is they're trying to get the top of the bag untied.
But how do you know who it is?
Well, does it matter? It doesn't matter to me. It just is a person.
You just go to any body and just untie
if
whatever.
If they're wandering around after they passed away because someone tied and forgot to untie the top of their bag, I feel like it's just delivering a public service and being very polite.
To uncover whatever graves and then...
No. These are apparitions that they're saying. It was sitting in a tree.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm just going to go dig up every grave. I'm saying if I saw this apparition, it might not be my first instinct, but in the back of my head it might be, I think they need help. But yeah, thank you so much for sending that in. We appreciate it. And we'd definitely like to hear more about the stories you have to share. So before we move into our next story, we are going to take a really quick commercial break. And we're back. All right, I'm going to move on to my second story of the evening, and this one's subject is my homegrown horror story. Cool.
Nice.
So we know exactly what we're getting. It starts out like this. Hey, Robin, Adam, and Spooky Mom.
Hello.
Hello. And
from all of us.
Yeah, my mom in the background goes, hello, like Mrs.
Hello.
Doubtfire. It's okay to read this on the podcast. Thank you for putting that in the front. The first month and a half of quarantine, your podcast was my constant lifeline.
Oh, that's so nice.
That is nice to hear. Now I just share memes in the Facebook group and listen weekly.
Thank you for your memes.
Yes,
because
we appreciate them.
Love the memes that get posted. Sometimes they are highlights of our day, and we just sit here and just laugh.
Laugh so fucking much at them. Especially anything that says Quispy. Robin pisses her pants every time she sees that.
It's funny, okay?
I guess. It is funny. I won't say it's not funny, but you laugh like it's the first time you've seen it every time you see it, and I think it's kind of adorable. All right. Gonna keep going. Spotify was my podcast gateway, and I've been listening for a while. Shout out Spotify. There was a bit where I talked about my haunted house in the group, but I have wanted to give this story too. So if it sounds familiar, that might be why. Okay,
right.
Cool. Good to know. This isn't my first haunted house, I should clarify. My mom's house is over 100 years old, and neighbors see an old man in the window upstairs, which is impossible since no men live up there. Also, the ceiling has random footsteps, and the entrance has been barricaded since shortly after we moved in 2007. There's literally no way to get up there. Then, when I moved in with my husband, we would have all kinds of things get moved around on their own, which wasn't us, and our twins weren't even able to crawl yet. Then my husband got back from deployment. His closet light would flick on and off in the middle of the night.
Why was that place barricaded?
It was just, I think, the upstairs. Like, you have a derelict room in your house you're not going to go into anymore, so you barricade it.
That's scary.
I know people who have rooms that were like, the room is unrecoverable. It's just filled with a bunch of bullshit, and they literally, boarded up the door, or they took the handle off the door so you couldn't get into it. Like, my friend Lee had a room in a house he rented where they're like, never go in that room. And, you couldn't go in that room even if you wanted to. And it was
That's sketchy.
It was like a hoarder room. It's where they shoved all of their shit, It's like, instead of getting a storage locker, you just pick a room and you're like, all right, it's a one-bedroom house now, and you just cram everything in there. I don't know if that's the case. It could just be because there's demons in the attic. But I'm going to keep going.
All right.
Our current house gets saged frequently because the ghosts here are super active. When it becomes too much, I sage it down a notch. That's awesome. I guess I need to add another story, so this might be long. Sorry. So when we were buying our house, we viewed the house as you do. The older woman who lived here told us the guest house was for her mother, who had just gone to a home since her Alzheimer's had progressed. She had lived here with her mother and husband until she had divorced her husband. The dream of every old lady. Then, when her mother had gone to a home, she had more house than she needed. Her ex-husband had nothing to do with the sale. He was estranged and on the West Coast. Forward to us getting the house and moving in with our now adopted teen, 3-year-old twins, and 6-month-old baby. It's a beautiful home in a quiet neighborhood. Picture leading up to a typical ghosty movie. So it's like, yeah, you're moving in like, oh, you got it so cheap. How'd that happen? It's
nice, like, big, happy family.
Yeah, it's like, seances and rituals were done here. Okay, that is our little blue house with a white picket fence. Exactly our house. The first couple years were great. We had adopted my teen sister a month before moving in, and the guest house was a teen dream for personal space. It started when my sister asked one morning who had come over the night before. When we had said that there were no visitors, she looked confused and asked, then who was laughing outside my front door?
Shut up. No, shut up. What?
Her front door has a little porch to our back door, which is where we stand to talk sometimes, but no one had been there. The following months, there were a few times where she talked about hearing an old lady laughing, talking, or coughing.
That's
We
terrifying.
assumed that the previous owner's mom, who lived out there, had passed away. Also, our backyard has a shed where there is a bunch of building supplies where the previous owner's husband had remodeled the house. Side note, and this is just me saying this, I cannot stand it when people reno a house or fix something and they leave all the things they used to do that in the house. We still have shit we're getting rid of from the people who had the house before we did. And there was just like buckets of paint and plaster and bags of shit. And it's just so annoying. Like, part of the things that I want to be in a contract when you get a house is like, get rid of all your shit. If you don't get rid of all your shit, you owe me $1 million. Because, like, who knows? It could be like haunted 2x4s. Anyways, so shed has a bunch of shit in it. He poured so much of himself into our house that we can really tell he loved this house. Also, he haunts it too. We started hearing footsteps up and down the hall. Our toddler started waking up every morning at 2 a.m., and then things started being tossed at us from places there was no way to have them thrown.
If the kid is waking up
at 2 a.m.,
that's scary.
Yeah. And, of course, the objects being thrown when they couldn't be thrown. Finally fed up, I did an internet search for the previous owner. I found her information and her ex-husband's. He had died around the same time we started getting freaked out by our new ghost. Now, there are a few times when we are just like, okay, John, we get it, and go on about our day. There have been bunches of times where we knew John is around, but he's been fine. I am really accepting, so it doesn't usually bother me. However, sometimes it scares me. Once I was folding laundry and a little box of cat medicine flew across the room and hit my leg. Since the box was behind a tumbler and had been sitting there for 2 weeks, there was just no way it fell. Not to mention I was 4 feet away from the microwave it was placed on, so it needed to be lifted around the cup, thrown 4 feet, and be aimed a little diagonally at my leg. I simply dropped the shirt I was folding, picked up the medicine, realized it was about time I give her the medicine, and said, thanks, John, I'll go now. Then went to the guest house where my cat lives with my sister's 2 cats for company, and cried.
Wow.
Because I am a baby, but my ghost friend was just looking out for my kitty, I guess. I mean, if something happens that's super unexplainable, like, it is upsetting. I totally get it. Like, you get a rush of adrenaline, and everyone handles that completely differently. Continuing on. Another time, my husband and I were sitting on the couch watching TV when we heard a loud boom. We thought a tree had fallen on the roof right above where my husband was sitting. Until then, he did not believe in John. He got up and went outside to see if our big tree had actually fallen. It was not storming, there was no wind, and after looking, the only tree we have out front was too short to reach the roof anyways.
Wow.
Thinking the attic maybe had a broken beam, he went to go check. I did not go because, fuck that. No thanks.
Oh my God.
There was no broken beam in the attic and no evidence for what could possibly have made that noise. We believe there was in fact a ghost trying to let my husband know that he was there. Lastly, there's many more, but this story is from the group. So this is the one that they posted in the Spooky Friends group, so if it sounds familiar, that's why. In February, in parentheses, I think, I was at home sewing while the kids were at school and my sister was not living here. There was music playing and my 2 dogs were sleeping in the room with me. I heard talking from my daughter's room and it sounded like a child. Children ghosts are the scariest.
It's really creepy.
Yeah, dude. This isn't the first time we have heard a child talk, which always makes me think demons.
What?
I stood up, shaking, grabbed my purse, and left.
When it comes to child entities too, it always makes me feel like it could possibly be a demon because they pick the most innocent thing possible
to pretend they are,
right? So that you kind of let them in. Like Annabelle Creation,
right,
where
it pretends to be the couple's lost daughter.
Yeah.
Or passed away, whatever. All right, I'm going to keep going on this. I went and got sage, picked up the kids, and saged my house until my eyes stung. I feel like it wasn't John because he isn't vocal and probably doesn't sound like a small child. Okay, this is probably long enough, and some of the times I freaked. I can write more if you want. I love what you guys do and appreciate all the work you put into scaring me a little each week. If you do share it, and I catch it on Twitch, I am Silly Snuggle Kid, smiley face, who is right now in the channel.
Nice.
And it ends with, okay, bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sending it in. Silly Snuggle Kid, which is still one of my favorite names of anyone that's in Twitch. It's a really great story. It's well written, and we definitely want to hear the rest of your stuff. So please, please, please send it in. And honestly, when it comes to things that are supernatural, even if they seem benign or even if they seem like helpful, it's still freaky. You know, you don't have a default reaction you're supposed to have. Freaking out and going and crying is not something you should ever be ashamed of because it's really fucking intense. Like, people tend to just shake when they think something scary has happened. Like, Robin almost pees herself every time she comes home and I jump out from around a corner. I'm like, boo! And she knows it's just me. And if something really creepy would happen, I mean, I hope you do. If there's a murder, he wouldn't say boo, he would just stab you in the heart and go on with his business.
You got scared when I accidentally kicked the gate the other day.
Yeah, because she tried to do the boo thing, which I'm usually prepared for, and she accidentally kicked our fucking dog gate as hard as she could, so it was boo in a huge slam, like 6 inches from me. So I was like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, it was scary. What? I'm not ashamed that I cried. I didn't cry. I'm a guy, I don't cry. Anyways, thank you so much for sending that in.
So my next email here is from Tatum, and the subject is Blue Man. I hope it wasn't a group of them.
Are they indeed a blue guy? I feel like we might have read this before, because I feel like I've just made that joke recently. Also, this is the last email of the show. She was supposed to do the last email transition, and she didn't.
Oh, this is the last email of the show.
There you go.
Hi, Robin and Adam.
Hello.
Hello, that's us. I feel like I've already said that this episode. Anyway, my name is Tatum, and I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. Found your podcast right when I was starting my first year of college, so it's easily in one of my top 3 favorites.
Yay.
Nice.
We made the top 3.
I wish I could be friends with you guys in real life. You know what's funny is...
You probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
You're like, fuck these people.
We're not cool.
We're fucking nerds.
We're so nerdy. Anyway, I grew up in a relatively old house that's full of weird stuff, and I am finally getting around to sharing it with you guys. I have 3 little stories that I remember from then. So, as a child, and even now, I've always preferred to sit on the floor. When I'm doing homework, eating, watching a movie, or whatever, I'm always most comfortable on the floor, for whatever reason. I'm the same way. I always sit, like, Indian style, even if I'm sitting on the sofa. Sometimes it's just more comfortable.
This show is what taught me crisscross applesauce is also what it's called. I had no idea that's what it was until it got emailed to us, and then we had to get it clarified.
What did I just say? What did I call it?
Indian style.
Oh, I shouldn't say that.
Not very PC.
No, it's not PC. The only occupants of the house were me, my mom, my older brother, and 2 pets. A dog named Lola and a cat named Chester. Rest in peace.
Aww.
Rest in peace to your animals. We were talking about this animal movie, Dog's Journey or whatever today, and I was like, I can't watch it because I will cry.
We? You looked at me like
me
it
and
was
my coworkers.
I was like,
Sorry.
I didn't talk about you with this.
I love it.
Must have been your other boyfriend.
Shut up. I love animals so much. Anyway, one of the most vivid memories I have in my childhood home was becoming acquainted with a silent but super sad-looking ghost. The first time I encountered him was when I was 7 years old, sitting on the floor, eating with my mom and my brother on the couch behind me. The way that I was positioned, I was the only one that would have been able to see the hallway as I was sitting perpendicular to it. I remember vividly seeing a human body walk down the hallway out of the corner of my eye, even though everybody that lived in the house was sitting in the same room as me. And it paused right in front of me as if to get my attention without saying anything. So, of course, being the bouncy, curious child that I was, I turned to look. I saw a transparent blue man wearing a dirty suit and tie just staring at me with the most somber expression I've ever seen.
He sounds like a dirty Dr. Manhattan.
Oh my God. Well, I guess he does wear a suit at some point.
He does, yeah. Just not a dirty one.
Like he was straight out of the Great Depression era. I absolutely froze, and he soon after just slightly turned and walked straight into the wall and disappeared. I had major goosebumps and reluctantly turned around, freaking my mom out because she said I was so pale. I had looked like I had just saw a ghost. Very funny, Mom. That's funny. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her that I just saw a very sad blue man walk through the wall, and in order to keep my brother and I calm, she said it was just my imagination, even though my mom is very in touch with her spiritual side, and later told me that she believed me at the time and that she used to see him too.
Do you think he's blue because he's sad?
He's like indeed a blue guy.
If he became envious, would he be green? Or if he became joy, would he be yellow? I can't remember. I haven't seen Inside Out in a while.
That image...
Anger is red.
That
Fear
image...
is purple.
Stop it! That image still plays in my mind like I took a photo of it. The next two experiences only ever occurred in my room or outside of my window. Of course, prey on the defenseless little girl.
Aww.
I feel like children are just... I don't know, maybe more open to seeing it because they
doubt less.
Yes.
They have less reason to be skeptical about things. Mainly because they haven't, let the world crush their beliefs yet. So they have, more, I don't know, more of an open mind to things, to take stuff in.
I had these plastic beads hanging from my doorway, similar to the ones popular in the 70s. I could see that. And I bet they were pink and blue and really colorful
and
ones.
definitely brown. There's a lot of brown in those door beads, just saying.
But as a little girl, I'm sure you're I want unicorn colored ones. I don't know. I just
want
assumed
a rainbow door bead.
That I was so adamant on keeping there, despite the number of times that they would move by themselves in the middle of the night.
Could be the AC.
It could be the
also,
AC.
fuck that.
If I were the parent in the situation, I would have been like, they are coming down. There's something wrong here. No. They never moved all at once, as if the air conditioning was blowing on them, but always in a wave, as if somebody was running their hands across them.
That's fucked up.
That's scary.
Hey man, if I was learning my ghost stuff like Patrick Swayze in the movie Ghost, which I constantly reference, it's probably one of the first things I would be practicing at, is to do a full wave across the beads.
Movement never happened during the daytime, but only in the middle of the night after all three of us were in our bedrooms. My door was always kept open when I slept, as well as my mother's. She could see into my room from her bedroom. That's nice. So she kept her door open just in case she needed to check on me easily. And she would later tell me that she would constantly see the beads swinging even when the air conditioning was off.
Those beads would be down so fucking fast, dude. I'd be like, if something's here, I don't want to know about it. I'm pulling those beads down.
I didn't have an air vent anywhere near my doorway either, so that makes everything even better. Yeah, no. Those would have been gone. If I were your mom, I would have been like, no. There's no way that's natural. We're taking these beads down. Sorry.
You have a very nice mom, because there's some moms out there who would have ripped the beads down and been like, get the fuck out of my house, you're haunted. So, appreciate them. I think you should.
Lastly, this story is one that confuses me the most. The only window in my room was one of two that looked out into the front yard. My brother's room was right next to mine, and his was the second and only other window that looked out into the front yard. Often, on weekends, I would stay up past my bedtime to watch music videos on my TV when I wasn't supposed to. One night, I heard two men arguing, and it sounded like it was right inside my house. I didn't know who I thought it was, but in order to not get caught for having my TV on, I quickly turned it off and acted like I was sleeping. This, of course, didn't make the men stop. It just made me hear them more clearly. Not the best logic, but hey, how much logic does a 7-year-old have?
Aw. That reminds me of this episode of Below Deck Mediterranean we were watching the other night, where the guests were just arguing and everyone on the super yacht could hear them. I hate that I watched that show, but it's so fucking good.
It's so addicting. It is so addicting, and we stay up way too late watching this show.
Twilight of reality TV, and I'm so fucking addicted to it. I just had to get a fucking Below Deck reference in there because I'm sitting here wanting to talk about it. I'm sorry I've interrupted your story. Please continue.
The more I listened, the more it sounded like they were directly outside my window. I couldn't ever make out what they were saying, but I knew that they were arguing. I would stand on my bed to look out my window and see nothing at all, and the conversation would stop. I would lay right back down, and the conversation between the men would start right back up again. I repeated my routine, and behold, the conversation would stop, and there would still be nobody outside of my window where I heard them so clearly. It was unmistakable. This scared the shit out of me, and I repeated this process at least 2 more times, but the argument just persisted between these 2 mystery ghost men. Maybe they were fighting about the failing stock market, since the blue man from the first story seemed like he was from the Great Depression. Who knows? The next day, I asked my brother if he heard the men fighting, and he had no idea what I was talking about. I was wide awake when this was happening and was the only one in the house with a TV in my room. That's so nice.
Yeah.
So the dialogue could not have come from anywhere else in the house. My mom thinks that I have been gifted with communicating with spirits since I was a baby, so that's her explanation to that one. That's I don't know how I would take that. People. Yeah. These experiences still creep me out, but they make for a good story. I love the podcast. Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing, or should I say keep on creeping on. Can I get an extra woo from Adam? Love you guys both. P.S. My mom just started listening to you guys too. Nice.
Woo!
Oh my fuck.
You're welcome, and thank you to your mom for listening to us. I already said you have a good mom, so I was clearly in the right about that since she's listening to our show. Thank you for sending in your stories. That's pretty intense.
That's a lot for a 7-year-old to experience.
Image of beads, slowly having that wave. Yes. I'm putting that into a short story at some point in my life because that's fucking
so scary.
Creepy.
When curtains do that too. They don't blow naturally. It's like someone's lifting it and then pushing it.
And I've never seen it happen, thank the Lord.
In scary movies when they do that. It's a good...
I've never seen a scary movie where that happens, actually.
What is that? The Haunting? Haunting? It's the one where it's the big mansion. They bring people in for this psychological experiment. Owen Wilson's in it.
Shanghai Nights? Shanghai Noon. You said Owen Wilson. These are the only movies I've ever seen with him. Oh, Royal Tenenbaums. Big House. Got you.
Get out. The mom from The Conjuring. The mom from The Conjuring is in it. I don't know.
The mom from The Conjuring? Oh, I know which movie you're talking about.
Yeah. I think it's called Haunting.
No, it might be The Haunting.
The Haunting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a part in it.
Narrowed it down.
There's a part in it where the curtains kind of blow because the ghosts are playing in the curtains, and it's weird.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good to know. That does also sound terrifying, but thank you for sending in your story. And now that your mom listens, she should send in her stories as well, especially from the perspective of someone who has a daughter who apparently can commune with the dead, which is horrifying. So, right on. So I just want to thank everyone who sent in their stories for this episode of Storytime. It's been pretty amazing to see the outpouring of support we've had for the podcast from people who would like to share. This is episode 130 of Storytime, which means we have read your stories 130 times. Which is absolutely phenomenal. Not to mention the fact that I think for the first 50 or 60 episodes, we used to do 2 homegrown horrors before the topics. So it just shows you how consistent our support has been, and it's all thanks to you wonderful folks. And from the bottom of my heart, it sincerely means a lot. And if you have a story you would like to share with us, or you're one of the folks that said, I can send in more if you guys would like, we absolutely would. So please email storytime@scarish.com, or go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us. Fill out that form. It does come directly to us. Or hit us up on any of our social medias. We have Facebook, which is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Twitter is @scarishpod. And Instagram is @scarishpodcast. Robin, for folks who would like to donate to us monetarily and, more importantly, get themselves entered into the contest to win this mug, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Tiers start at $1. You get ad-free episodes. And this month, you get entered in to possibly win a mug. One winner out of all our patrons. Just so you know, not everybody gets one.
That is a patron-specific giveaway.
Yes.
There is another alternative option to donate to us that would not add you to this contest. Robin, what's that one?
You can go to ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast, and those are one-time donations. All your donations go to helping us upgrade our studio setup and keep us kind of reinvesting into the show, and we kind of hope that we can make it better and keep making more content. And it's all thanks to you guys that we've even gotten this far. So
indeed. So thank you so much to everyone. We love you all. That's just about everything we have for episode 130 of Storytime. So Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.